Cowboys news of the evening. If you did miss it, Stephen Jones on with KNC earlier, confirming Dak Prescott will indeed still be starting for the Christmas Day game on Thursday against the Commanders. Looks like he's probably going to be playing against Josh Johnson, who's going to get the start for Washington with Marcus Mariota having a hand injury right now. The other things you had, Stephen asked about Flus from our guys on KNC, and it was Alec in for Kevin. They did a fantastic job, but just on the defense, it's just about making sure that we're running the scheme that complements our players' skill sets the best, because there's no question we have some pieces that we have to utilize. As he was reflecting back on the Cowboys season and saying that biggest disappointment has been the defense. So, quote, it's just about making sure that we're running the scheme that complements our players. I think, that's something that it doesn't seem as though this current defensive coordinator is built for. And that goes back to the hire in the first place. So it would be, I think, the third one and done outside of Dan Quinn. This is going to be the third one and done defensive coordinator if indeed Flus gets fired.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but Jerry's talking about continuity, but I don't know how you can think about continuity when
it's this bad.
It's this bad.
No.
You gotta look at it as like, okay, I mean, it's kind of been really all year. And, if you're Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, even Brian Schottenheimer, how many weeks have we broken down a Cowboy game on a Wednesday or a Thursday and then talked about compromised offensive line? Mm-hmm. Need to get pressure. Need to find ways to. And what's the one thing? Now, listen, the Joneses have a hand in this too. They hired Eberflus. They were convinced that he could generate pressure. Uh-huh. I'll say this. Yesterday, he did more in the way of games up front. Down, around.
Sure.
That 34-yard run that Herbert had.
Oh.
He couldn't have schemed up Murray to get home any cleaner than he did.
Just make the play.
Just make the play. It goes from being a 5 to 7, 8-yard loss to being a 34-yard run. Is that Flus's fault?
No.
No, it's not. But ultimately, who pays for the sins of a team that doesn't play well? The head coach, the coordinators, the position coach.
Yep.
That's the problem. Because he schemed up some guys being able to get home. They haven't finished all year with pass rush.
And that's why, to pretend that the personnel is not a problem, which Jerry did tell Sean and RJ, but I think that they know that it is a problem.
It is a
problem. And they're just saying that publicly.
It's an absolute problem. They don't want to. You don't want to hack off the players.
No.
It's easier to get rid of coaches than it is players.
100%. But Joseph Hoyt putting out the Cowboys have 28 sacks through 16 games this season. There's only 3 teams in franchise history that have had less through a 16-game stretch. The Cowboys had 32 sacks during the 9-game strike-shortened season in 1987.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
I'll tell you, they don't intercept the ball either. That's another one.
I guess they haven't had 15 straight games like the Jets, but they're definitely not taking the ball away.
Yeah.
So Todd Archer has a piece out, what did the Cowboys get right in Schotty's first season? 877-881-1053. We had a couple of texts in about the culture and the offense. That might be trending in the right direction. Now, offensively, I do think overall it's definitely improved 100%. But there are areas, I think, that are starting to pop up as glaring concerns. Like Bobby had the numbers. The Cowboys were 83% in the red zone their first 3 games this year. They have failed to convert in the red zone just twice in 12 opportunities since.
Yeah.
They've had at least twice in every one of their final 5 home games failed to convert in the red zone. So that's 45% of the time. They went from 83% to 45% of the time. They've definitely struggled in that area of the field.
Yeah.
So, we knew the defense was going to be bad. We mentioned that on the post game. The offense at times, and it's tough, right? Because even in the Lions, they scored enough points to win that game, but they've got to be putting up 30 points to have a chance. And yesterday, when you get shut out in the second half, you're not going to have an opportunity to win. But Dak overall has had one of his best statistical seasons. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 10 picks. At least Dak in this offense, you have seen the best version of him, and he's healthy. I mean, he's been running around a lot more.
Yeah, that's been huge, and that's one of the biggest bummers about this season. Like, if you said Dak was going to have one of his best seasons and he was going to be healthy at this point in the year, you would think they have more wins at this point.
Sure.
And so everything really starts with the defense, and I understand the offense has a lot of pressure, and every mistake they make is really amplified because of how bad the defense is. But the offense has slipped as the season's gone on. And the red zone stuff, like, that's going to be a big-time look in the mirror. Like, when you have Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens, scoring touchdowns in the red zone shouldn't be the hardest thing in the world.
No.
But the other thing, too, is, like, the protection started to fail you, and there was a good chunk here leading up to these last couple of games where, like, your rushing attack kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was, that's another thing that was problematic. So being able to sustain it and, as the season goes on, find other things to do as defenses sort of get a beat on you a little bit. So there's definitely room for improvement for the offense, but overall it's been a solid year for them. And for Dak in particular, I think that's the big thing. Like, Dak finally has a coach that is helping him more than he's hurting him.
And, I mean, Pickens, that trade has worked out. We'll see what happens with possibly the franchise tag or a long-term contract this offseason. CD reaching 1,000 receiving yards for the 5th straight season, despite missing 4 games. I mean, his numbers have been unreal. Javonte Williams, low-cost free agent signing, that's been a home run. I think it's pretty evident, though, even if you bring Javonte Williams back, you've got to find another back to spell him. I mean, it wasn't until, 2-3 weeks ago they finally started giving Malik Davis a little bit of a run. Before that, they clearly didn't trust Jaden Blue. They weren't using Hunter Lipke. It was just the Malik Davis show, and now he's really started to get beat up towards the end of the season. The trade deadline acquisition for Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark, they've been beneficial for them for the most part. The stuff with Kenny Clark, it's tough because, like, even rewatching the game, there are snaps that he is dominating, but it's just like, it's too far and few between at times for him. Tyler Booker has been, and I think Donovan Ezra-Rocky are both going to be really good players. Savone Revel, let's just give the guy a full offseason, please. The brace, he acknowledged, that's clearly bothering him, but those 3 guys have a chance to be good pieces moving forward. And you got DeMarvion Overshown back. And hopefully now he's got another year removed from the injury. He's got a full off season to really work, and then he's got training camp and preseason. Overshown hopefully is back closer to the version of what we saw him prior to the injury next year. So there are some of the things that Schotty got right in the first season. Is there anything else that you would add to that we didn't get to?
No, I mean, I think it's just being able to adjust on the fly as the season goes on, and being able to be better in the red zone and having a rushing attack that doesn't disappear. And I think a lot of it will happen when they can really get an established offensive line. Like, we were hopeful for it. They suffered plenty of injuries, but the offensive line, the protection and not being able to run the ball, and maybe just probably getting a little bit too conservative when you get into around midfield and you just feel like you have the Brandon Aubrey back pocket, hey, we can kick a field goal.
Sure.
And I wonder how much that sort of works against him, as he's calling some of these games.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah.
It absolutely could. Jerry also was talking about the defense, and that clearly has been a massive problem. And he did allude to, his role in this and wanting to change. I mean, he was asked about the results of the last 30 years. He said, I'll admit that the Cowboys management has played a big role, but seriously, I'm very disappointed that the way we're structured and my role puts us here tonight. I'm tremendously disappointed. And I appreciate Jerry saying that, but the actions then need to follow suit. And maybe now is finally the time where all things are clicking to where there could be a change in that regard.